by claiming that ISIS is the same as Hamas and Hamas is the same as Al-Qaeda, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, along with other Israeli mouthpieces and spokesmen for the government, have made a very, very big mistake. Not only because it's politically inaccurate and also academically, national liberation movements like Hamas cannot be compared to a trans-border movement like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. I'm not talking about the violence and the terrorism of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. I am talking about from a political point of view. National liberation movements are operating within national state borders. They have a political program. You may agree with it or disagree with it. That's your business. They also have an ideology that is centered around the creation of a nation state within those defined boundaries. That has absolutely nothing to do with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. But of course, Netanyahu and others wanted to create that link simply because they want to tap into the existing anti-ISIS Al-Qaeda sentiment in the media. And of course, it worked. So they started making all of these allegations about the killing of the babies and the rape of women and all of that, trying to create this kind of fantasy that would allow mainstream audiences or people who subscribe to mainstream channels and agendas to actually follow suit and make that mistake as well. But in doing so, they also have hurt themselves greatly, because you can't fight a war against a national liberation movement that is completely rooted within the population that is affected by this war and think that you can easily win. They really did think that they're just going to go there, overwhelm the people to the point that the people are going to say to Hamas, just get on your buses and leave. The same way that ISIS left Mosul, Raqqa and other parts of Syria and Iraq, the same way that Al-Qaeda left Afghanistan at one point and so forth. But it doesn't work that way. National liberation movements do not get on buses and leave or go anywhere. And you can't just simply replicate this kind of experience just because you decided to make that wrong call of deciding that Hamas is the same as ISIS and Al-Qaeda. They're not. Hamas is indeed a national liberation movement that is situated within an ideological framework that is Islamic. That is said, Hamas and Taliban are similar in certain ways and different in others. Taliban is too a national liberation movement, but has quite an isolationist political ideology. While Hamas, if you listen to their political messages and discourse, they kind of see the world as their global stage in terms of politics. Abu Ubaidah, for example, doesn't just talk about the Palestinian people, but he also talks about the Arab people, the Muslim people, and the free people of the world. More than once, he actually kind of omitted the Muslim and Arab nations and did speak about the free people of the world, which means that Hamas has a global political appeal. And it's really working. It's working very well, to the point that Abu Ubaidah has a great deal of credibility in the Arab and Muslim world, and even beyond this. Now, Israel continues to operate with the assumption that ISIS is Hamas and October 7 is 9/11. It works with some kind of hardcore ideological supporters, but it doesn't work in reality, especially over the course of time. And this is really one of the main reasons of why Israel is struggling in Gaza. They're struggling because they are continuing to operate as if they are trying to destroy ISIS the way that ISIS was destroyed in other parts of the Middle East. In actuality, they are trying to destroy the Palestinian people who have created the Hamas movement the same way they have created other Palestinian national liberation movements, including socialists, communists, secularists, and all the rest. Thank you.